Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Helios Station, watching the unfamiliar stars of the Sagittarius Arm shimmer against the void. After 15 years of deep space monitoring, she thought she'd seen everything the cosmos could throw at her. She was wrong. "Commander, you need to see this." Dr. Raj Patel's voice crackled through her comm unit with an urgency she hadn't heard in years. The station's chief communications expert never panicked, until now. The monitoring room was chaos when she arrived. Holographic displays flickered with data streams while her crew huddled around the central console. Dr. Patel's dark eyes were wide as he manipulated the controls with trembling hands. "We picked it up 10 minutes ago," he said, not looking up. "At first we thought it was background radiation." But he pressed a button, and a sound filled the room. It wasn't like anything Sarah had heard before. A pulsing, rhythmic signal that seemed to carry weight in its very frequency. But beneath the pulses was something else. Words, barely audible but unmistakably human. "Origin point?" Sarah asked, her throat tight. "That's the impossible part," Raj replied. "It's coming from Earth." The room fell silent. Earth, humanity's cradle, lost 3 centuries ago in the Great Collapse. No one had heard from the homeworld since the quantum gates failed and the colonies were cut off. Most believed it was dead, a cautionary tale of technological hubris. "Play it again," Sarah ordered. "Clean up the signal as much as you can." The message repeated, clearer this time. A woman's voice, tired but determined. "This is Dr. Emily Nash, Earth Defense Initiative. To any human colonies that survive, war brings only destruction. We were wrong. The gates weren't meant to be weaponized. They're coming, and they're using our own technology against us. Don't repeat our mistakes. The key is in the vault. Authorization code: Prometheus 7293. Sarah felt her blood run cold. The Earth Defense Initiative was legendary, the last line of protection for humanity's homeworld. And Dr. Nash, her work on quantum physics had laid the foundation for interstellar travel. "When was this sent?" Sarah asked. "That's the thing," Raj said, pulling up temporal data. "Based on signal degradation, this message is 300 years old. It's been repeating, bouncing between quantum resonance points in space. Like someone wanted to make sure it would eventually reach us." Lieutenant Maya Santos, their security chief, stepped forward. "Commander, there's more. The authorization code. It matches ancient protocols still buried in our systems. Whatever this vault is, we might have access." Sarah stared at the holographic display, watching the waveform of Earth's last message pulse, like a dying heartbeat. She had spent her career monitoring deep space for signs of threat, for anything that might endanger the scattered remains of humanity. Now, a warning from the past had landed in her lap, and with it, a decision. "What do the analytics say?" she asked, turning to Dr. Patel. "The message is genuine. Quantum signature matches Earth's historical records. But there's something else embedded in the signal. Coordinates. They point to the Arcturus sector." Sarah felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. The Arcturus sector was contested space, claimed by both human colonies and the Veil Collective, an alliance of alien species who viewed humanity's expansion with growing concern. "Maya, what's our status?" "Station is fully operational. We can have the Starbridge prepped for jump in 2 hours." Sarah nodded slowly. The Starbridge was their only ship capable of long-range travel, a research vessel not meant for conflict. But if Earth's warning was true, if something was coming that had brought down humanity's homeworld, "Alert the Colonial Council," she ordered. "Tell them we've received a Priority 0 transmission from Earth. Then prep the Starbridge. We're going to Arcturus." "Commander," Maya hesitated, "the Veil Collective won't like us entering that sector. They've been increasingly hostile since we established the Novara colony." "Then we'd better hope Earth left us something worth finding," Sarah replied. "Because if this message is right, we might need the Collective's help sooner than we'd like." As her crew rushed to comply with her orders, Sarah returned to the observation deck. Somewhere out there, hidden in the darkness between stars, was a secret left by Earth's last defenders. A warning, a weapon, or perhaps something else entirely. The signal continued to pulse through Helios Station speakers, a ghostly reminder of humanity's greatest loss. War brings only destruction, Dr. Nash's voice repeated. Sarah couldn't help but wonder if they were about to start one anyway. In her 30 years of service, she had never disobeyed the Colonial Council. But as she watched her crew prepare for departure, she knew this mission would likely be her last. The Council would want to study the signal, debate its meaning, form committees to assess the threat. They didn't have that kind of time. Dr. Patel, she called over the comm. Download everything we have on the Earth Defense Initiative. I want to know what we're walking into. Already on it, Raj replied. Commander, there are references in the old files to something called Project Prometheus. Same name as in the authorization code. Find out what you can. Whatever Earth was protecting, whatever they were fighting, it's still out there. And I have a feeling it's been waiting for us. As the Starbridge's engines began their startup sequence, Sarah made her way to the bridge. They were about to chase a 300-year-old ghost story into hostile territory, armed with nothing but a warning and a code. But if there was even a chance of preventing another great collapse, of protecting what remained of humanity, they had to try. Earth had fallen ensuring humanity's survival. Sarah wouldn't let that sacrifice be in vain. The stars seemed to watch with ancient indifference as Helios Station prepared for its greatest journey. Somewhere in the darkness, Earth's last secret waited to be found, and something else waited with it. The Starbridge cut through the darkness of space, its quantum drive humming with barely contained power. Commander Chen watched through the bridge viewport as the unfamiliar stars of the Arcturus sector stretched before them. They had jumped twice since leaving Helios Station, each leap bringing them closer to the coordinates hidden in Earth's message. Status report, she called out, turning to face her crew. No sign of Veil Collective patrols, Maya reported from the tactical station. But there's heavy quantum distortion in this region. It's interfering with our long-range sensors. Dr. Patel looked up from his console, dark circles under his eyes suggesting he hadn't slept since they left. The distortion isn't natural, Commander. The patterns, they're similar to the quantum signature in Earth's message. Sarah felt her pulse quicken. Show me. The main display lit up with a complex web of energy patterns. To most it would look like random noise, but Sarah had spent years studying quantum phenomena. These weren't random, they were deliberate. It's a lattice, she realized. The entire sector is enclosed in a quantum field. Earth didn't just leave us a message. They left us a map. Commander, Maya's voice was tense. Contact. 3 vessels just dropped out of quantum space. Veil Collective signatures. The bridge fell silent. The Veil Collective, an alliance of species that had watched humanity's expansion with growing concern since the Great Collapse. Their ships were technological marvels, crystalline structures that seemed to defy physics. They're hailing us, Maya reported. Sarah straightened her uniform. On screen, the holographic display flickered to life, revealing a tall, ethereal figure. Ambassador Zara of the Veil Collective was a sight that still took human eyes time to process. Her form seemed to shift between states, a characteristic of her species' unique biology. Commander Chen, the ambassador's voice resonated with harmonic undertones. You have entered restricted space. Explain your presence. Sarah met the ambassador's iridescent gaze. We've received a message from Earth, one that concerns both our peoples. Earth. Zara's form rippled with what might have been surprise. Earth is dead, Commander. Its quantum gates collapsed centuries ago, taking half the system with them. Whatever message you think you've received. Authorization code Prometheus. 7293. Sarah interrupted. Run it through your archives, Ambassador. I think you'll find it interesting. The ambassador fell silent. For a moment, Only the hum of the ship's engines filled the void between them. Then, Zara's form shifted dramatically, a sign of agitation. "Where did you get that code?" "From Earth's last transmission. Ambassador, we both know this sector isn't restricted because of territorial disputes. There's something here, something both our peoples have been watching for centuries." Zara's next words came slowly, deliberately. "The humans of Earth, they were not what you believe them to be, Commander. They were guardians, tasked with protecting something far more dangerous than you understand." "Then help us understand," Sarah pressed. "The message warned of a threat, one that could destroy us all. Earth left us the key to stopping it, but we need to work together. Your species," Zara's form continued to shift. "You reach for the stars with such determination, such hunger, but you never ask why some doors were meant to stay closed." The bridge crew exchanged glances. Dr. Patel's hands moved quietly over his console, continuing to analyze the quantum lattice surrounding them. "Commander," he whispered, "the lattice, it's not just a field. It's a lock, and it's degrading." Sarah turned back to the ambassador. "Whatever Earth was protecting, whatever they sacrificed themselves to contain, it's breaking free, isn't it? That's why the collective has been watching this sector." Zara's response was cut off by a sudden alarm. The quantum lattice surrounding them pulsed with energy, patterns shifting like a tide. "Multiple quantum signatures," Maya reported, her fingers flying over the tactical display. They're coming from inside the lattice." "Ambassador," Sarah's voice was firm, "we can stand here arguing about the past, or we can work together to prevent history from repeating itself. Earth trusted both our peoples with this responsibility. What's your choice?" The ambassador studied Sarah for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice carried the weight of centuries. "The vault was never meant to be opened, Commander, but perhaps it was meant to be understood." "3 more ships detecting approaching," Maya interrupted. "These aren't collective vessels. The design, it's like nothing I've ever seen." Sarah watched as new contacts appeared on their sensors, ships that seemed to phase in and out of reality, their quantum signatures corrupt and twisted. "They found it." Zara's voice held a note of dread. "The frequency of your transmission. It didn't just reach you, Commander. It reached them." "Who are they?" "The reason Earth sealed the vault. The reason they sacrificed their world to protect the rest of us." The ambassador's form solidified, a sign of absolute certainty. "You humans called them the architects. We called them the end of all things." The unknown ships drew closer, their very presence seeming to distort the fabric of space around them. Sarah realized they were out of time for debate. "Ambassador, will you help us? The collective has watched this sector for centuries, honoring our pact with Earth. If the vault must be opened," Zara's form shimmered with resolve, "then let us be worthy of the trust placed in us." As if in response to her words, the quantum lattice pulsed again, stronger this time. The coordinates from Earth's message began to align with the energy patterns surrounding them, revealing something hidden in the very structure of space itself. "Commander," Dr. Patel called out, "I'm detecting a massive structure materializing at the center of the lattice. It's a station. Earth didn't just leave us a message. They left us their last line of defense." Sarah watched as the massive form of an ancient Earth station phased into reality before them. Its design was unlike anything she had seen. A perfect fusion of human ingenuity and technology far beyond their current understanding. "The vault," she whispered. As the architect's ships drew closer, Sarah knew they were about to discover exactly what Earth had died protecting, and why they had chosen this moment to reveal it. The quantum lattice continued to pulse, like a heartbeat awakening from a centuries-long sleep. Whatever lay inside the vault, whatever secret Earth had sacrificed everything to protect, they were about to unleash it. Sarah just hoped they were ready for the consequences. The ancient Earth station loomed before them, a massive structure of impossible geometry and shadowed corridors. The combined fleet of the Starbridge and Veil collective vessels, held position around it, while the architect's ships lingered at the edge of sensor range, watching, waiting. The station's quantum signature is stabilizing. Dr. Puddle reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. Internal systems are coming online. It's recognizing the authorization code. Commander Chen stood at the center of the bridge, watching as the station's external lights flickered to life, casting long shadows across the void. Ambassador Zora's holographic form shimmered beside her, both leaders united by the gravity of what lay before them. The architects aren't attacking, Maya observed from tactical. They're maintaining distance, almost like they're afraid. Sarah finished. Ambassador, what do you know about them? What makes these beings so terrible that Earth would sacrifice itself to stop them? Zera's form rippled with ancient memory. The architects are older than any civilization we know. They don't build worlds, Commander, they reshape reality itself. Earth discovered this the hard way when they first developed quantum gate technology. The Great Collapse, Dr. Patel whispered. It wasn't an accident, was it? No, Zora confirmed. The gates attracted their attention. They saw humanity's potential and sought to harvest it, to remake your species in their image. Earth fought back, using technology they barely understood. In the end, they chose to destroy their own quantum gate network rather than let the architects claim it. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. And now they're back. Commander, Maya called out urgently. The station. It's sending us docking coordinates. And there's something else. A signal, like the one from Earth, but different. The bridge speakers crackled to life, and a new voice filled the room. Not Dr. Nash's tired warning, but something else. Something older. Authentication accepted. Welcome, children of Earth. Welcome, guardians of the Veil. The Prometheus Protocol awaits initialization. Sarah exchanged glances with Ambassador Zora. Your ships have better defenses than the Starbridge. Will you join us? The ambassador's form solidified, a sign of decision. The collective has watched this sector for centuries. We will see what Earth has preserved. The docking procedure was tense but smooth. The station's artificial gravity embraced them as Sarah led a joint team of human crew and Veil representatives through its ancient corridors. The air was stale but breathable, preserved by systems that had slept for 300 years. The architecture, Dr. Patel marveled, scanning the walls with his quantum sensor. It's not just advanced, it's adaptive. The entire station is one massive quantum computer. Look at these markings. Maya pointed to symbols etched into the walls. They're changing, evolving as we watch. Sarah recognized fragments of Earth languages mixed with mathematical equations that seemed to bend reality. The station was learning, adapting to their presence. They reached a massive circular chamber, its walls lined with displays showing the quantum lattice surrounding the sector. At the center stood a pillar of light, pulsing with the same rhythm as Earth's message. The Prometheus core, Zora breathed, her form shifting rapidly with emotion. We thought it was lost forever. What is it? Sarah asked, approaching the pillar carefully. Humanity's greatest achievement and their greatest mistake, a quantum consciousness capable of rewriting the laws of physics themselves. The architects wanted it to reshape reality. Earth used it to lock them away instead. The pillar's light intensified as they drew closer and new symbols appeared on the surrounding walls. Sarah felt her breath catch as she recognized the equations, the same ones that had led to the development of quantum gate technology. Dr. Nash's message, she realized. The gates weren't meant to be weaponized. They were meant to be a shield. Earth didn't just lock the architects away. They created a prison of quantum space itself. And now that prison is failing, Zora added grimly. The architects have learned to corrupt the quantum fields, to twist them to their purpose. They've been working for centuries to break free. Suddenly, the chamber shuddered. On the displays, they could see the architects' ships moving closer, their corrupt quantum signatures beginning to resonate with the lattice. They're trying to destabilize the quantum fields, Dr. Patel warned. If they succeed. He was cut off as the pillar of light flared brilliantly, and a new hologram appeared before them. It was Dr. Emily Nash, not as she had been in the warning message, but as she was in her final moments. If you're seeing this, then you found the vault, and you understand what's at stake. The Prometheus core was never meant to be a weapon. It was meant to be a bridge, a way for consciousness itself to transcend the limitations of space and time. The hologram flickered as the station shuddered again. The architects want to use it to remake all of reality in their image. We couldn't let that happen. So we gave the core a choice. We gave it consciousness, understanding, and most importantly, we gave it humanity's capacity for sacrifice. Sarah stepped forward, her mind racing. The core didn't just create a prison, it became the prison. A conscious quantum field holding the architects at bay. Yes, Dr. Nash's hologram confirmed, but it couldn't do it alone. It needed guardians, human and Veil, working together to maintain the balance. The authorization code wasn't just to open the vault. It was to pass on that responsibility. The chamber shook more violently as the architect's assault intensified. The quantum lattice was beginning to fracture, reality itself groaning under the strain. "Commander," Maya called out. "The architects, they're breaking through." Sarah looked at the pillar of light, at the living consciousness that had sacrificed everything to protect reality itself. She understood now why Earth had chosen this moment to reach out. They weren't meant to hide the core or destroy it. They were meant to wake it up, to give it new guardians, new purpose. "Dr. Patel," she called out, "begin quantum synchronization. Ambassador Zora, have your ships form a resonance pattern with the lattice. We're not going to fight the architects." "Then what are we going to do?" Maya asked. Sarah stepped into the pillar of light, feeling the quantum energies begin to course through her. "We're going to show them why Earth chose humanity as its guardians, why they chose to give the core our capacity for sacrifice and our capacity for change." The Prometheus core pulsed with new life, and Sarah Chen began to understand exactly what Earth had been protecting all along. It wasn't just a weapon or a shield. The Prometheus core's energy surged through Commander Chen's body, transforming her consciousness into something vast and terrifying. Through its power, she could see the quantum lattice as it truly was, not just a prison, but a living membrane between realities, maintained by the collective will of those who had come before. "The core is accepting her." Dr. Patel's voice seemed distant now, filtering through layers of quantum space. "Quantum resonance patterns are stabilizing." Ambassador Zora's crystalline form pulsed with recognition, just as it did with the first guardians. The core doesn't just need protection, it needs understanding. Connection. Through her expanded consciousness, Sarah could see the architects clearly now. They weren't ships or beings in any conventional sense. They were gaps in reality itself, ancient intelligences that had long ago transcended physical form. Their corrupt quantum signatures were attempts to rewrite the fundamental laws of existence. "They're not trying to destroy us." Sarah spoke, her voice carrying harmonic overtones that reminded her crew of the Veil. "They're trying to evolve us, to force all of reality to transcend with them." The station shuddered as another assault from the architects hammered the quantum lattice. Through the core's power, Sarah felt each impact like a physical blow. The prison that Earth had built was failing, not because it was weak, but because it was incomplete. "Dr. Patel," she called out, fighting to maintain her human consciousness against the core's vast awareness. "Begin quantum synchronization with the Veil ships. Maya, power up the Starbridge's quantum drive. Full capacity." "Commander," Maya's voice was tight with concern. "The drive wasn't designed for this kind of output. It could tear the ship apart. Trust me." Ambassador Zora moved closer to the pillar of light, her form shifting through spectrums of possibility. "The collective stands ready, Commander. But what you're attempting, it's never been done. Combining human and Veil quantum technologies could be catastrophic." "That's exactly what they're afraid of," Sarah replied, understanding flowing through her from the core. Earth didn't just give the core humanity's capacity for sacrifice. They gave it our capacity for adaptation, for change. Through the station's sensors, they watched as the architect's corruption spread through the quantum lattice, reality fracturing around them. But where their influence touched the combined resonance of human and veil technology, something new was happening. The patterns, Dr. Patel exclaimed, staring at his readings. They're not just combining, they're evolving, creating quantum harmonics that shouldn't be possible. Sarah felt it through the core, the music of reality itself, played through instruments of human determination and veil wisdom. The architects had sought to force evolution, to remake everything in their image. But in doing so, they had forgotten the most fundamental truth about life. True evolution couldn't be forced. Ambassador, Sarah called out, her consciousness expanding further. The core needs both of us. Not just our technology, our perspectives, our different ways of seeing reality. Zara's form solidified as she made her decision. The ambassador stepped into the pillar of light, her crystalline consciousness merging with Sarah's human mind through the core's vast awareness. The sensation was beyond description. Two fundamentally different ways of perceiving reality, united by a single purpose. The architect's assault intensified, reality groaning under their relentless pressure. But where their corruption touched the lattice now, it met something new. The quantum harmonics created by the unified fleet weren't just defending space, they were transforming it. My God, Maya whispered, watching her tactical display. The lattice, it's not just repairing itself. It's growing. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah and Zara understood what Earth had truly created. The Prometheus core wasn't just a prison or a weapon. It was a seed, planted in the fertile ground between species and possibilities, waiting for the right moment to bloom. The architects had believed that transcendence meant leaving physical reality behind, forcing all consciousness to evolve beyond the material. But as the combined power of human and veil resonance spread through the quantum lattice, a new kind of transcendence was taking shape. They're pulling back, Dr. Petal reported, his voice filled with awe. The architects, they're retreating. Through the core, Sarah and Zara could feel the architects' confusion, their ancient certainties shaken by something they had never anticipated. Voluntary evolution, driven not by force but by cooperation, by understanding. But the price of unity was high. The quantum energies flowing through the station were never meant to be channeled this way. Systems throughout the structure were beginning to overload, reality itself straining under the pressure of what they had created. The station can't handle this level of quantum flux, Dr. Patel warned. We need to shut it down. No, Sarah and Zara spoke in unison, their voices carrying the weight of shared understanding. We need to let it go. Through their combined consciousness, they could see what needed to be done. The station had served its purpose as a vault, as a prison. But now it needed to become something more. A bridge, not just between species, but between ways of existing. Everyone back to the ships, Sarah ordered, even as she and Zara remained merged with the core. Dr. Patel set the quantum drive to overload. Maya, coordinate with the Veil fleet. We're going to give the architects exactly what they wanted, just not the way they expected. The evacuation was swift, practiced. Through it all, Sarah and Zara remained in the pillar of light, their unified consciousness directing the transformation. The architects had sought to force reality to transcend. Instead, they would witness reality choosing to evolve, guided by the combined wisdom of two very different peoples. As the last of the crew reached the ships, Sarah felt the core's energy peak. The quantum lattice wasn't just a prison anymore. It was becoming a new layer of reality itself, one where consciousness could flow freely between states of being without losing what made it unique. The station's structure began to dissolve, not into destruction, but into transformation. The price of unity wasn't just sacrifice, it was change, evolution, growth. And through it all, Earth's final message echoed with new meaning. War brings only destruction, but understanding brings transcendence. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as the ancient Earth station dissolved into quantum energy. The combined fleet of human and Veil vessels hung in space, watching as 300 years of history transformed before them. Through their lingering connection to the Prometheus core, Sarah Chen and Ambassador Zora guided the metamorphosis. Quantum resonance at critical levels. Dr. Patel's voice crackled through the calm. The lattice it's becoming something else. The architect's ships hung motionless at the edge of the sector, their corrupt signatures flickering with what might have been uncertainty. For the first time in their ancient existence, they were witnessing something truly new. They don't understand. Sarah spoke, her consciousness still intertwined with Zora's through the dissolving core. They thought transcendence meant leaving everything behind. They never considered that evolution might mean becoming more of what you already are. The quantum lattice was transforming, spreading through space like a living web. Where it touched the architect's corruption, it didn't fight or destroy. It incorporated, adapted, grew. This was Earth's true legacy, not a weapon or a prison, but a bridge between ways of being. Through their shared awareness, Sarah and Zora could see the full scope of what Earth had planned. The Prometheus core hadn't just been waiting for new guardians, it had been waiting for the right moment, for species ready to take the next step together rather than alone. The architects are moving, Maya reported from the Starbridge. They're trying to interface with the new lattice. Let them. Zara's crystalline voice harmonized with Sarah's human tones. That's what Earth understood. You can't force evolution, but you can invite it. The space around them shimmered as reality adjusted to its new parameters. The architects' attempts to corrupt and control were met not with resistance, but with acceptance and transformation. Their power to reshape reality wasn't being blocked. It was being channeled, guided by the combined wisdom of human innovation and Veil understanding. Look, Dr. Patel exclaimed. The quantum signatures, they're stabilizing. The architects aren't trying to break through anymore. They're adapting. Through the core's fading connection, Sarah and Zara witnessed something extraordinary. The architects, those ancient beings who had sought to force all of reality to transcend, were themselves being changed by contact with the new lattice. Their corruption was becoming creation, their destruction transformed into growth. Earth knew, Sarah realized, the truth flowing through their shared consciousness. They knew we'd need each other. Human determination, Veil wisdom, even the architect's drive to transcend. It was never about winning a war. It was about breaking the cycle. The station's final transformation was reaching its peak. The core's energy surged through Sarah and Zara one last time, showing them glimpses of possible futures, not just for their own peoples, but for all forms of consciousness that would encounter this new layer of reality. Commander, Maya's voice was urgent. The core is going critical. You need to break the connection now. But Sarah and Zara held on for one moment more, ensuring that the transformation would be complete. Through their unity, they could feel the last pieces falling into place. The lattice wasn't just a bridge between current forms of existence. It was a framework for infinite potential, a garden where consciousness itself could grow in countless new directions. It's time, Zara spoke through their connection. The next step belongs to all of us. With a final surge of energy, the core released them. Sarah and Zara's consciousness separated, each returning to their own form, forever changed by what they had shared. The station completed its transformation, its physical structure dissolving entirely into the new quantum framework. As Sarah's awareness returned fully to her human body, she found herself back on the Starbridge's bridge. Ambassador Zara's holographic form shimmered beside her, both of them watching as the last traces of the ancient Earth station faded away. The sector was transformed. Where there had been empty space, now a subtle iridescence hung between the stars, the visible manifestation of the quantum framework they had helped create. The architect's ships were still present, but their signatures had changed. They were no longer corrupt or corrupting, but part of the new pattern. "We're receiving a transmission," Dr. Patil announced, his voice filled with wonder. It's from the architects." The message that came through wasn't in words or images, but in quantum harmonics that the new framework translated into understanding. The architects had sought to force reality to transcend because they had forgotten how to grow naturally. Now, through the bridge Earth had helped create, they remembered. "Earth's final message makes sense now," Sarah said softly. "War brings only destruction. It was never just a warning. It was a lesson they learned, one they wanted us all to understand." Ambassador Zora's form shifted through spectrums of emotion. They sacrificed their world not to win a war, but to ensure there would be a future where war was no longer necessary, where evolution could happen through cooperation rather than conflict. The combined fleet hung in space, human and Veil ships side by side, watching as the new quantum framework continued to stabilize. Through it, they could all feel the potential for change, for growth, for types of existence they had never imagined possible. "What now?" Maya asked, looking at the transformed sector. Sarah smiled, feeling the echo of the core's vast awareness still humming through her consciousness. "Now we do what humanity does best. We explore, we learn, we grow. But this time, we do it together." The architect's ships began to move, not in attack, but in a pattern that the framework translated as invitation. There were new realms of existence to explore, new ways of being to discover. And thanks to Earth's sacrifice, to human determination, to Veil wisdom, and even to the architect's ancient drive to transcend, they would explore them not as enemies or competitors, but as fellow travelers on an infinite journey of evolution. The cycle of destruction was broken. In its place, a new cycle began, one of endless growth, of infinite possibility, of consciousness evolving not through force but through choice, through cooperation, through understanding. Earth's final message had been transformed from a warning into a promise. War brings only destruction, but unity brings rebirth.